I just had to show you. I'm having a ball. I started making my flowers, and I am just amazed at what you can do with the BigShot. Sometimes it just literally blows me away what you can do with the BigShot. So I got this idea from Miss Soft Brown's haul, where she showed some flowers with stitching and some flowers with you know, just buttons and stuff. So I pulled out a bunch of scrap cloth, and I don't know if you're like me, but I lie to myself a lot. I buy this cloth and I say I'm going to go home and I'm going to sew one day. I'm going to make this amazing thing that really doesn't happen. But so I have tons of scrap cloth, you know, $3 cloth you pick up from wherever. And I also have felt. Why do I have felt? Another, I don't know. It was on sale some days somewhere, and so I have tons of felt. I also have this foam stuff, and the cool thing about this foam stuff is that it's like contact, in that it has a self-adhesive on the back. And so I buy these in little rectangles, and again, don't know why. And they sell them like in the children's section of Joann's and Michael's, because you can make things for your children to play with. But anyway, I took all this stuff out and I started putting it in groups of colors that I like together. And this is what it looks like. And then after I put it in groups of colors, then I ran it all through the BigShot using one of my favorite dyes. And I'm using the same dye on all of these. This is the BigShot Fun Flowers dye. BigShot Fun Flowers dye. And it looks like that. And it's kind of dirty now because it's full of cloth. But that's not a big deal. You know, your dye can handle that kind of... This is professional dye, so you can handle that kind of thing. Then I pulled out like all the buttons in my life. And I pulled out some brads, and I pulled these buttons out from like under the mattress. I don't know how much buttons I have and where they all came from, but I apparently at some point in my life was a button collector. And so I've got tons of these buttons, and so I've been pulling out my buttons and putting them in with the color groups to see, you know, where they fit in, and they do. So I'm busy making these flowers, so I've started with like some simple ones. You know, this is just alternating a white and a blue, and instead of doing real stitching, I did faux stitching around the edges of these flowers. Hope you can see that. This is a purple flower with all the pieces of the die. So I think this one has all of them except the biggest one. All right. And then see how this one is bigger, so it doesn't have the biggest one, but it's purple, and I'll tell you a story about purple and me one day. And so let me just show you. I'm going to put one together right in front of you so you can see. So here's some brown felt, and I've got some of that designer fabric that we were selling in the Occasions Mini, and all I'm doing is just laying it down in layers. So kind of in the same way that it's cut, but like alternating. So let's see, there's a little round piece that comes with this too. So there's a couple different kinds of round pieces. So there's an example. And then, see, that button's too big. So let's use the other round piece, because there's two different size round pieces. Right? And then the button in the middle. Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness, I'm so impressed. And then I'm just going to take over here, I'm going to come back to the camera 1 second. I'm just going to get my needle and thread. And I'm going to sew the needle and thread. And I think I should be using a smaller needle, but hey, I'm not going to go looking for the other one. And I can just, using the button as my guide, so I need to start from the back. I'm just going to sew this together. So I could use the glue gun, which is what I was using earlier. Let me use the glue gun. Just, it's not that it's hard to sew. What's happening is I have the wrong size needle for this job. You can tell I'm a real seamstress, right? And I'm just going to put some thread into this button though, because I don't really like naked buttons. I like buttons to have thread in them. It was some design rule that somebody told me once upon a time in the past. And so I'm just going to take the thread all the way through all the holes in the button. And then they're sticking up. And then I'm going to use my Imagine-S glue dot. Put some glue in the middle. Put the next layer down. This is not rocket science. It doesn't require any, really, it doesn't require any creativity, really. And then put the thing in the middle down. Oops, don't drop it while you're doing it though, because the glue gun is hot. Alright, you'll get some strings, don't worry about them. You can pull them off when they dry easier than when they're wet. So then I have that, and then I have the button in the middle. I can wait for that to dry. In the meantime, let's pull off those little extra strings that the glue gun makes. But again, I could have sewn this together just as easily if I had the right size needle, because it was just being difficult because it's a bookbinding needle that I was trying to use. It wasn't a sewing needle. That doesn't work. So it's not as sharp at the end, in other words. And then I have the little string. Is that not the easiest, most amazing thing that you would pay $5 for in a store sometimes? And bam, you have it. I've got some of this African cloth. I'm gonna make some cultural flowers here. So let's see. Let's do the. I don't know why I don't have a big one. Oh, I do. Let's take a big one of that, put the black. And so sometimes I'm alternating colors because I think it adds more contrast that way. But you don't have to. The whole thing could be that cloth. And then a little piece of the brown. Well, let's do the black circle. And then we can pick a button that's really cool. That's got a lot of red in it, so I could use this little heart button. Or I could use some other button. So there's tons of buttons. I don't know where I got all these buttons from. So there's a nice green button. That goes perfect. You know, it's just, I'm blown away by the simplicity of this. And it's all thanks to the BigShot. So I thought I'd share it with you. Try it out. When I get done making all my flowers, I am going to put up a little tiny video showing them all to you. So I'm hoping you're enjoying your weekend. I've shut my phone off. I'm not going to stress about work. I'm just going to play. So hope you're playing too. Bye-bye.